Yeah, we've arrived at day 3 of this Lekgotla that we've been planning and contemplating and preparing for. And I'm hoping that all of you are going to leave this place richer, a better exam administrator, and you're going to go back with a kind of renewed vigor and energy to do and to execute this mandate. And I must say that every Lekgotla, every meeting, every discussion we attend just makes the mandate even larger and greater and more heavier. And I'm constantly being driven by the fact that I've got 18 months, and I'm hoping I can multiply the 18 by 10. Time is of the essence, so therefore if you see me moving with speed, I hope that you're going to be able to understand where I come from. I'm more energized, I'm more activated. In fact, I have the energy to start another Lekgotla now. Another 3-day Lekgotla, so that we can start taking each of the recommendations that Sister Priscilla spoke about, get the implementation plan, and then start running. So those of you that want to remain, Elangeni, Dr. Peniston will organize. We can start tonight at 6 o'clock. And we'll conclude by Sunday, and we'll send our implementation plans to all of you. But that's how I feel, colleagues, and I hope that you feel the same. But let me also just emphasize the appreciation coming from our DDG, Dr. Mthembu. And let me remind you, colleagues, DBE is now not just a formidable team. We're not just a lion and a group of lions roaring in the KZ jungle. With Dr. Mthembu, Dr. Poliah, Mrs. Okobanjo, Mr. Nkosinathi, and the rest, we are a strong team. Whatever you criticized us about previously, I mean, we are going to be taking all of them and implementing them. Do you agree? You look confused. I'm telling you, we are a formidable team. You should say, yay, you are. Okay, now, colleagues, let me just once again say thank you to our KZN Lion of the Jungle, Dr. Peniston. And his really strong team that have worked together with the DBE to get this Lekgotla off the ground. And you can agree with me, colleagues, from the day we got here, we've been treated like the royalty in the kingdom. So Dr. Peniston, you, your team, every member of that team, you know who you are. And particularly your admin support, those smart ladies that were dressed in black on the first day we got here and just gave us the right impression of what to expect from royalty. And then to our DBE team, Dr. Mthembu, both under the leadership of Mrs. Okobanjo and Mr. Nkosinathi, you're a great, great team. And like the DG says, if I had to relive my life and want to put together another team, it will certainly be the team that we currently have. So all our CES, our admin support that have worked tirelessly, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to start preparing for next year's Lekgotla from this afternoon, so that we have we talk about the mother of all. Now we're going to have the father of all Lekgotlas in 2023. And finally, to all of you colleagues, the fact that we still have the room full, all of you still look starry-eyed, you still look energetic. With the few seats that have been vacated, we'll find out who were occupying those vacant seats. But the rest of you have remained. None of you have drifted into the ocean or have found something more interesting. You've been here, and thank you for all your inputs, particularly our PED colleagues, together with our stakeholders whom we have come to depend on. And I don't like this distinction between DBE and PEDs. We are one. We just seem, or rather we just located in different points. So thank you. Now comes the way forward. Now, there's 3 words throughout this Lekgotla. There's 3 words that have been constantly buzzing in my head, and they've been just being thrown around. And the 3 words is reconfiguration, re-engineering, and remolding. And I want you to leave this Lekgotla with the 3 words. Firstly, there has to be a reconfiguration of our minds. If you are going to leave this place with the same kind of thinking about assessment, then it means we've not achieved the objective. And I think Mr. Fasahi and a number of colleagues have spoken about this. In fact, Dr. Mthembu, moving forward, we're not going to talk about this distinction between exams and assessment. That's a misnomer. I mentioned that at the beginning. Assessment is the umbrella term. Examination is one type of assessment. But you know what we've done? This one type of assessment, which was supposed to be the sub-component, has now become the dominant. In other words, the son has become the father. Exam is the son of assessment. So we need to get the son taking the right place and becoming the umbrella term. And we're going to have to rethink about this so that we're going to change our thinking. And I think for me, colleagues, reconfiguration of the mind is number 1. Re-engineering the system. This examination system that we have is no more feasible in the 21st century context. And I think the elements of a re-engineered system are there. We've been talking about them over the last 2 days. It's a matter of putting it all together. And what you need to understand, colleagues, and I want you to leave this meeting, you're not going to get additional staff capacity. You're not going to get additional budget. Budgets are shrinking. You and I will have to go and look at our processes, re-engineer our system so that they fit in with the available budget. If we get additional money, we must say, thank you, Lord, we've received something extra. But don't expect any additional money. We hear this being mentioned constantly. In fact, your budgets for 2023, 2024 are going to be cut even further. So don't hope that you're going to get additional manpower, and therefore it calls for some kind of remodeling, which is the third part that I want to talk about, remodeling of our exam processes. So it's a reconfiguration of our mind in terms of how we think about assessment, re-engineering of the system, and remodeling of the exam processes. You know, colleagues, we always talk about business unusual. And you know what I've come to realize in education? All these Lekgotlas, these workshops that we have, Dr. Mthembu, we just talk. And we are excellent at talking. We can talk from the morning till the cows come home. We are absolutely low in action. You know, from when have we been talking about business unusual, business extraordinary? I'm not sure whether that business unusual has really translated into action. And I'm asking, colleagues, that each and every one of us must go back home and ask yourself and make changes to your thinking and tell yourself, how is it that I'm going to be able to get more out of my 24-hour day? What is it that I'm going to do? Because if each one of us can invest an additional hour, just 1 hour, and I'm not saying go and create an additional hour, reconfigure, restructure your time so that each one of us has an additional hour to put into all that we've spoken about over these few days, we will be able to take the system forward. Because what Priscilla presented yesterday was, or was it the day before, in terms of what are the recommendations that have come from previous Lekgotlas? We've not moved significantly. And if you go to a number of our education meetings, we seem to be moving in circles. I mean, we've spoken about SBA for the last 20 years, but we have not made significant strides with SBA and the problems that we have. So we need to, colleagues, really think about what does business unusual mean. And it's a challenge, and I'm asking each one of us to go back and think more seriously about all of this. The next point, which is my important point, and I think Priscilla alluded to it, we need to, at NEAC, and maybe at our head of exams meeting, how do we find champions to take each of these recommendations forward? whether it's one individual sitting at DBE and just focusing on these recommendations and make sure that they are taken forward, whether we get a team that's going to move these things forward, a team from stakeholders, PDs and DBE, or whether we appoint separate groups of people to take separate groups of recommendations forward, is something that we need to think about, colleagues. We can't go back to the next Lekgotla with things having moved in a snail's pace. So you go back and start thinking about how do we champion and how do we move these recommendations forward. And what I think is the next important point, Dr. Mthembu, we must come up with a clear curriculum and assessment roadmap. There's too much that's happening around us. I mean, if you look at it, we're talking about digitization. We're talking about a national exam board. We're talking about electronic distribution of question papers, electronic marking, SBA. But all of these must be put together into a clear, integrated roadmap so that we know in 2023, this is where we need to be. 2024, this is where we need to be. 2025. So you have a clear plan of how all of these come together and how we move forward. So whether one of us leaves, whether somebody else comes in, there should be no fear of that, simply because you've got a clear roadmap for curriculum and assessment, and we can take all of these things forward. So my passing shot, colleagues, let's go back home and let's spend time on reflecting on what has been discussed. And let us think more seriously. And as I always say, colleagues, you and I have a window of opportunity. My window will close in 18 months. Some of you have got 24 months. Some of you have got possibly 12 times 5, 60 months. But your window is going to close at some point. And if the Lord takes you away, your window will close even sooner. So make sure that for the time that we have available, we do what is possible and what is it that we can do. So you're going to have a higher degree of urgency from my side. And I'm hoping that my sense of urgency is going to filter through to the rest of the room and that we all move with greater speed. But thank you. You've been a great bunch over the last 3 days. I only hope that we're going to stay here longer, but unfortunately that's not possible. But we will see you at the next Lekgotla, and one that is going to be at another level. I think, like somebody said earlier, it was not just about the entertainment and the relaxation, exercises and the like, but it was about the content that has taken this Lekgotla to the next level. Thank you very much. God bless you, and greetings to your family.